Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed listeners, and fellow enthusiasts of the future of work, welcome to a truly electrifying episode of Virtual Global Leadership Podcast. Our guest today is none other than brilliant Shivam Karnwal, an extraordinaire who is on a relentless mission to shape the future of work as we know it. Shivam's expertise extends beyond traditional boundaries. He is a staunch advocate of remote first teams, a visionary who champions the art of collaboration that knows no geographical limits. He is here to share his profound insights on breaking down barriers, fostering innovation, and cultivating a tribe of like minded individuals whose collective dynamic can create nothing short of a magic. So, fasten your seatbelts, dear listeners, as we embark on a journey into the future of work with one and only Mr. Shivam. Get ready to be inspired, enlightened, and motivated as we delve into the secrets of success in a rapidly changing world. Welcome, Shivam. How are you?
Thanks, Sagar. Very, very humbled, and thanks for that, kind and awesome introduction. I think I could use some of your words now in my introduction, but yeah, thanks for having me here. I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I am good and looking forward to learning and gaining your perspectives, Shivam. So, I would love to know more about what's happening. Like, what made you build yourself in the direction where remote work or future of work is something that you're really enjoying right now. So, I would love to know more about it.
Okay, so for that, I think we need to go back in 2019, or maybe March 2020. We all know that the pandemic hit in March 2020, right? Everybody went, you know moved back to home, lockdown, everything was there. So I think the work from home journey or remote work journey started 3 months after that. So initially, like, before that, I was just a normal worker going to office, like spending 90 minutes on daily commute. I was living in Noida extension, and my office was in Noida 16. So pretty much like, you know, grained of that commute, traffic, and all. But life was good, right? I was in sales. I'm still in sales. So, going to office, I was very much liking going to office, meeting my colleagues. We had a great team. We are still friends. Enjoying work. But the life was like this. So you wake up, right? Have a breakfast, take a cab, go to office, 9 to 5, leave the office, come back home, watch TV, have dinner, go to sleep, and repeat. That was life before. Uh, Enjoy on weekends, party on weekends, do whatever you can do. Long weekends were like, uh, you know, you can say a treat for all of the job, employees. They get one extra day so they can travel, have some, getaways and all. 2020, when it happened, I feel initially I thought like it'll be like 2 3 weeks or a month, maybe, right? Not more than that. We'll be back in offices. I was so used to office that time. But after 3 months, I felt like, no, it's not going anywhere, right? And I was a pro office person before. I'd like to mention that. And now I'm a pro remote person. So the things that changed my perspective is that when I started seeing things from a different angle, that while I was working from home, uh, I was saving my 90 minutes every single day. I was spending more time with my family. I could work from anywhere, uh, with my parents living with me, with my wife, or with my cousins, anyone, right? I could go anywhere and then work from there. So that changed my perspective, but I was still struggling, because I was so pro office worker, I was so used to meet people and socialize. I wasn't liking it that much because I used to go out, you know, hang out with friends and all. But slowly and steadily, I felt like this gonna be the future of work, because two things I'm liking. I'm a, you can say, like, there are people who are digital nomad, travel all around the globe, right, work and enjoy. I would call myself a rooted mad, because I like to be in places like in villages. I like enjoying seeing farmers when they do their daily work, and then I work alongside. I like to stay with my family most of the time. Uh, so I was enjoying that. Plus, the flexibility it has offered me was great. So that journey for 6 months or 9 months has changed my perspective, and I started looking out what could be done in remote work, so that we can make it more fun, or more used to, or more people started liking it, like we enjoy offices, right? Our office was not like a Google or Microsoft office. It was just a simple office, but the vibe of the office was like very much like it. Now here comes, like, I am working in a room just by myself. I have a wife at home, I have a younger brother, so I have two people, right, whom I can talk to. Plus I have friends whom I can call, right, or meet on weekends. But on in offices we do that every single day, right? You share thoughts. But in remote work you don't have that, flexibility to do that. So I pushed myself, like, because I am doing this work. And just to mention this, my brother started his job in 2018, and he was working from home since that time. I didn't realize till the time I went to this work from home that how difficult it could be just to work from home, because his whole team is in the US. He's the only Indian guy working from here. So it's like very, very difficult to socialize, to share your thoughts, to share your feelings, right? That's how I think it started. uh, then I started reading about it. I started documenting my experiences. I started documenting how we can change those experiences, what sort of things I can do to, you know, uh, get the best out of this remote work. And yeah, that's how it started. Since then, I'm documenting as much as I can. Uh, I am reading, I am learning as much as I can. And big you know thanks to, I'm very grateful that I got some influencers or leaders in remote work, like Chase or Darren, whom I religiously follow. And Ivo, I recently met him like couple of I think 6 months or 9 months ago. So yeah, I mean, like, now I have a community to hang out. I have figured out ways how to hang out while working from home. I have been, pushing myself into different programs so that I can still socialize or spend some time outside of work.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shivam, for giving us a very detailed perspective and sharing the why behind your this transition. It really helps, because I'm sure a lot of viewers would be in two minds. Is this the thing for me? Is it okay? Is it underrated, overrated, whatnot? But thank you. That detailed perspective really helps. Shivam, I would love to know more about what Uplers is doing, because I have spoken to a lot of leaders in in the recent podcast, and most of them were aware about Uplers. So I would love to know more about you on Uplers, and a bit about your responsibilities and you take care in Uplers. Yeah, at Uplers. Yeah.
Yeah. So Uplers is, we what we are trying to achieve uh, at Uplers is to connect global companies who are looking for diverse talents, or who are looking to hire people in India. We are trying to connect those companies with Indian talent. So our CEO's vision is to uplift Indian talents and connect them with global opportunities. So this is in a nutshell what we are trying to do. We
Wow.
are like, any other IT consulting or services company, but we are not in the similar space. Most people, so there are, plenty, a lot of staffing companies out there who are just doing the same thing. And I have, been into staffing since 2016.
Yep.
Right,
Yep.
I know like there is nothing new in that space. And the reason I joined Upplers, because I saw a vision, I saw a commitment to change this whole landscape. It's very rare that someone is trying to reshape the recruitment space, and that's what excites
Wow.
me about Upplers. My role at Upplers is like I'm a sales manager. I manage sales team at Upplers. I meet new customers uh, at Upplers. I consult startups, mid-size enterprise companies on remote work, on how to hire, how to manage, how to onboard, async work. Yeah, pretty much all of this. Uh, and my background in technical recruitment allows me to do that.
Nice, nice, Shivam. Thank you for sharing Upler's vision and your responsibilities. Just a quick question here. Um, Sales
Mhm.
will always be the profession, right? And of course, it's been managed on site for years. So what are some of the skills and attributes you would like to share with the viewers who would be interested in taking up, be it community, business development, or sales roles in remote first organizations?
Okay. So I have, because I think I have learned sales on site. Uh, I have, practiced sales on site, and transitioning into a remote work as a salesperson wasn't that difficult. The few things that I would mention is like, just uh, use some technologies, just get tech savvy, use some tools and technologies, around you. So it's I would simply say like be resourceful. Whatever you need is around you, right? You just need to check like what's online, what is can increase your productivity, what can, make you better in sales, right? All those sales coaches who are doing offline now online, they are on Instagram, they are on LinkedIn. So there is nothing extra you need to do. You just do the basics. For someone who is, starting his career in sales, especially in remote work, I feel you need a community for sure. uh,
Mhm.
I'll explain you this with an example. So when I joined sales, I was working on site, and we had a team of 10 people, nine other who were like pro sales people. I used to call them crocodiles or dinosaurs of sales. And I used to sit with them, right? So unintentionally or intentionally, I was learning a lot. And I felt like the things that I learned in 3 months in remote work, it may take around a year or 2 years for you, right? It also depends on your
Yeah,
learning curve, but in person you learn very, very strongly. So it's like, like they say, like you are average of five persons around you, right? So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
simply like that, right? uh, but so in remote work, you need a community. You need, a buddy who can work alongside with you, who can understand your strengths and weaknesses, who can, give you constructive feedbacks. So you need a mentor, you need a buddy like that. Plus you need a community, and you need to spend time with that community, and you need to enroll yourself in learning programs. I think I would suggest these three things to any new person who are transitioning into sales or want to start their career in sales.
Thank you, Shivam, for highlighting that. Just a follow-up question here. Could you also mention
Yes.
some of the interpersonal skills or some of the skills and attributes one must look at? Because sales itself is a
So,
skill. So
mhm.
just to kind of understand some of the nuances or yeah, yeah.
So yes, definitely there are few skills that are very, very important in sales. I would say the number one skill is like how you communicate, how you talk to anyone. Number one
Mm-hmm,
is that. So there is an awesome book with the same name, I think, How to Talk to Anyone. So you can go with that to start off with. Second is in sales, it's like every day you are negotiating with clients or your internal teams, right? So how to collab and how to negotiate with people. I think you can go with Chris Voss any day, anytime for that. Amazing, amazing read. These two skills are very important, plus your presentation skills. So when you are on client call, just make sure that your webcam is working fine. You're looking decent. I would not say like you look like a superstar or something. Just be like normal person. Have good lighting, right? Just be 5 minutes before. Just be proactive, I would say, right? When you are
yeah,
working in
yeah,
sales, so
proactive.
be
Yeah.
proactive. uh, yes, and be responsive. I think the number one thing that makes a salesperson a good salesperson, or excellent salesperson, is like how much responsive you are. So if I am
Hmm.
getting an email from a prospect or a client, and I have time, and I can write him back in next 2 minutes, this shows that I am prioritizing that guy over other things, and that's what people
Mm-hmm.
like.
Yeah.
Nobody likes
Yeah.
to be on second or third priority, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think responsiveness is the key to all of this. But yeah, presentation, uh, proactiveness is also important.
Yeah. Thank you, Shivam, for sharing that. So, what inspired you to focus on building remote first teams and why it is crucial in today's landscape?
So what inspired me is that remote first teams are the future of work and future of living, right?
Yeah.
Some companies still see that it is a futuristic way of working. It's not. It is the future as is already here. We are living it, right? Trust me or not, the forward thinking companies have already implemented it. They are living it. They are teaching their employees, right? They are teaching themselves how to be productive, how to run companies remote, how to generate revenue from remote employees. So what inspires me is like you don't the flexibility. Number one thing what inspires me is like flexibility. uh, and if you can offer your employees flexibility, autonomy, that's the number one thing that I would say your employees would like. So it's like you have a company because you have certain number of employees. If you are an enterprise company, you might be having 10,000 employees. Let's say those 10,000 employees don't like you.
Mm-hmm.
Then what is this company for? Just for revenue, right? And soon that will be gone as well. So that inspires me, like giving opportunity to employees. Initially it was like so much driven by employers, right? Now is the phase where employees are dominating this, right? And they have figured out multiple ways to work or to earn income, that they are not dependent on a single source of income as well, right? So this is what inspires me. You have more time. You don't have to travel. Like I used to travel 90 minutes. Sometimes it sucks for leaving to office, and you are on red light, and that there will be four more red lights in line, and you are already late, right? Now I don't have that thing at all. I can work from anywhere. So flexibility is number one thing that inspires me. Autonomy is the second most important thing that inspires me. In remote work, if you are still telling your employees to log in and log out and still telling them, okay, you need to do this, you need to do that, you have to do this now, and pinging them and expecting a response right away, you are call them back, I would say, to office or go to their home, sit with them. You're not using it. So that's why I say like autonomy is very important, because it gives an employee a sense of ownership. If your employee doesn't have ownership skills, or doesn't, is not considering himself as an accountable person for the task he is doing, no use. No use.
Mhm.
Do it yourself. Don't ask other person to do it, right? So I think what inspires me most is like remote work is not only changing or reshaping the future of work or living, it is also pushing human beings to become more productive, take more ownership, be more accountable, and how to balance between work and life, right? How you can balance work life integration or work life balance, whatever you want to prefer, right? So it is teaching those things, and it is a slow process. That's why we get all those things, or media news is around that it's not working, productivity is low. For a fact, remote workers are 30%, 13% more productive than any other worker, right? So it's a fact, data says it, I'm not saying it.
Mhm.
And people are leaving jobs for flexibility. Data is saying that.
Mhm.
So my point of view here is that it is the future of working, living. You want to go with the future, or you want to still defend the assembly line way of working? So if you want to defend that assembly line way of working, go back in 1913 and work with Henry Ford there. Now we
I
are
see.
not in a position to think like that. We have to change, right?
Mhm.
Let's
Mhm.
look at this example, right? Initially, when we used to go to any restaurant or any big hotel, I would say. So what exactly happened is like you have few peoples, like you have a chef, you have a waiter, you have a cashier, you have multiple people out there, right? And everybody used to do their own task. Now if you go to a restaurant, right, you have like the food creators, right? People who are working in the kitchen, right? Also they also interact with customers. We have uh, the tech wizards who are coming with the iPad and taking your orders, right? That's an experience. You have problem solvers. So if you have any problem with your food, or you want to customize it, they can do it for you, right? You have innovators. So I mean, like, there are multiple things, and even in any industry, right? Be it with tech or hospitality, things are changing. So it's better
Mhm.
to think that could work for next 30, 40, 50 years. It's not for right now in 2023, right? When we build systems and processes, we think for like next 40, 50 years. If those systems are not working for that much amount of time, total waste of building that particular system and spending your time in that. Uh, so yeah, couple a lot of things that inspires me about remote work. And
Yeah.
why companies should go for this, because now people think like this. So initially, when we were uh, going to offices, right, we have that kind of a habit, right? Daily habit of waking up, going to office, spending time, right? We have that habit. Now it's been like almost more than 1,000 or 1,500 days that we are at home. like during pandemic, even after pandemic, right? So habits have changed a lot. Now people
Yeah.
can't go back to offices, right? So now you have to think like, okay, these people are becoming more and more productive, maybe at home. And companies should think like, okay, either they are unable to figure out how to go remote or how to run or manage remote, then figure out the problems. So remote is not a problem. The problem is like, okay, so if I am a company, I'll say like, okay, I'm not liking remote, or remote isn't working for me, right? What are the reasons? I'll say like productivity sucks, right? I don't get productivity, plus I don't get to meet people, so there are no relationship at all with new joinees and all. Let's think the other way around. Because of these two problems, remote is not working for you. So figure
Mm,
out and try to solve these two problems, and remote will work for you.
mm, mm. Thank you, Shivam, for sharing that. Just a quick question here. Then, what challenges company face while they're transiting to remote first processes, and then you could and how they can overcome that.
So the challenges the companies that are facing when they are transitioning to remote is, the number one thing is you know employee engagement or team building, or
Mm,
having those relationship, people talk to each other. Because what I have seen when I joined Upplers, I joined Upplers as a fully remote company, right? At that time Upplers was having around 900 or maybe 1,000 employees, right? I
wow.
hardly knew 10 employees for the first 3 months or two
Mm-hmm.
months, hardly 10 employees, with whom I was working very closely. Uh, and slowly and steadily, I started communicating with people on LinkedIn, on personal chats, or due to some work. But you, in a remote environment, if you are joining a remote company, which is pretty big, right? Or even having 200, 300 employees, it's very hard to know everyone out there. But if you are in an office setting, the moment you enter the office building, you can at least see 50% of the people roaming around you. So you can talk, you can shake hands, right? You can hug people, right? You can have lunches, you can have coffee breaks, right? Those things were there and are still there. They are the relationship builders in the on-site settings, that builds the relationship. So team have lunch together, right? Having discussions, right? Team having coffee breaks together, team having water cooler talks, right? So those things build relationship, right? In remote setting, the company feels that it is next to impossible to do that, and yes, it is, right? Because you don't have all that kind of a setup in remote. But what you can do is, you can do offsites, right? You can do vacations, you can schedule fun Friday, you can schedule game sessions for your team so that people come and enjoy, right? In on-site setting, we used to have fun Fridays, right? Why can't we have the same fun Friday in remote setting, right? We can have, right? It'll be virtual, right? I can understand the feeling would not be the same, but there is a way to start. So this is number one thing that companies feel, that we would not have a much of an employee engagement or camaraderie or relationship between employees, and that's why they defend themselves, right? But you can still do that. Upplers, they arrange a vacation every year for 7 days in any location, and the whole team, because we are so big, so we cannot go with the whole team, so we do it in batches. But recently we had it in Rishikesh. So 105 or 110 people were in Rishikesh for 7 days, in a hotel. I met so many of the people that I didn't knew, who were new hires, right? So for new hires, it is very important that we meet with them, and inject those mission, vision, and all those things in person, and create a sense of camaraderie and relationship with those people. But these things can be done. And now for them, like if you are transitioning from an on-site to a remote first culture, think about what your employee needs. If there is a company who has been on site and no new hires, right? I think they can easily do that because everybody knows everybody out there. No one is new, right? People have already have a relationship out there. You don't need much of a relationship building activities. You only need it when the new employees are coming in, right? So you
Yeah.
can go with three an offsite every quarter. That would work. But on the other hand, if you are growing, or let's say you are a startup, right, having 50 employees and you want to hire 50 more employees in a remote setting, then you need to be more proactive or need to have more offsites than any other company, maybe every single month, or maybe have two vacations in a year. Nobody is
Yeah.
stopping you, right? You are all already saving so much on lease, right? So you can invest that much amount of money in employee engagement. So that can be done. The second most uh, dreadful challenge that company faces is like when they hire new employees, they feel like if they are not sitting with their seniors or mentors, they're not learning much. uh, and it's again coming back to the same point wherein you are the average of five people around you, right? You learn quickly, you know so crafting a well documented mentorship program or a training program would help. That's why we talked a lot more about async work, because remote is not like the same way of operations that you were operating in on site. If you will operate in on site the same way you'll operate in remote, it won't work for you. So a lot of async collaboration, async strategy comes into picture. And the number one thing out there is documenting everything. So
Mm-hmm.
have clear documents about the training programs, about the mentorship, right? About the SLAs, about the SOPs, whatever is there, just document it and share with people. The more you share, the more they have, and have a central system for that. So it's not like,
Yeah.
okay, I need something and I have to go to some person and wait for him to respond back to me. I should have a central system that I need something, and I just can search in that central system and get the document and read it and DIY. So these two things are very much important and companies faces. And then the last one is productivity. So when you have everything in place, you feel like, okay, people are not being productive. I think uh, um, if you feel that, I think the most important thing that you need to do is to understand the mentality or the behavior of your employee. The number one thing you can do is to sit with them and understand what is the issue on the other side, because you don't know what they're
Yeah.
going through,
Yeah.
right? They might be having hard time in the family, they might be having stress, they might be feeling burnout, right? You don't know yet. So sit with them, understand, and figure out ways to counter that productivity issue.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So I would say
Shivam,
like
for
these, yeah, my thought.
yeah, yeah. No, no. Thank you so much. This really helps. Initially, you mentioned, the resources are available. So, what are some of the 4 5 tools that you use yourself, and it would be great for managing work, managing processes, or otherwise?
So I have a very minimalistic setup because I travel a lot. So I don't use much of tools, but yeah, few things uh, that I would definitely recommend people uh, is to have you know calendar in place, right? So if you're not used to checking your calendar or putting things on your calendar, start doing that. That's the very first thing that you can start doing. because you should be knowing that what is what other things or tasks you have for this week or for today and all. Second thing is like put reminders, right, on your phone or maybe on your laptop. So these two things I use a lot every single day. uh, the next thing is you know figure out something that so people uses a tech thing like notepad or everything. Old school. I'll still use a diary and a pen, right? And so you need to figure out it, like what do you like, right? And that's how you use those tools and technologies. Like right now we use Slack, right? We use Google Chats, right? So those are the things that you need to figure out what is good for me and my organization. And that's how you curate those tools and start using that. But start putting things on your calendar, planning your day. So how I uh, do this is like I've already shared a post about this, like about my morning routine and about my post work routine and all that. uh, so I'll just briefly share here. So
Sure, sure, please.
I
Yeah.
plan my day before I start my work, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
plan my day. I write few things in my diary, in my notepad, that these are the priority tasks I have for today, right? It have both things like my work related task, my personal task, or whatever things that I need to complete today. So I plan it the moment before I start my work, and then I just check those things before I'm going to bed. So I know like how much work has been done, and I write my accomplishments, right? So it is important that you write down what needs to be done, and end of the day you check like, okay, what I have done. If you have done 100%, give yourself a credit, right? Feel happy about it, right? If you have done all the things for a month, right, without fail, go have a beer out there, enjoy, right? Party, do something. So giving credit yourself, it's also important, because uh, at least we can do for the things that we are doing is crediting ourselves, and that's make it more fulfilling and meaningful. Why you are doing it, what you are doing it, right? So like I said, very minimalistic setup. I think I just go with the calendar and reminders and my phone, Slack or Google Chat. Nothing fancy out here. Uh, Spotify is my, you know, stress buster, I would say. Whenever I feel stressed or whenever I feel like, okay, too much work, I need to get out of it, right? I just go out, go for a walk, listen some music, come back, and I'm all good. And Other things what you can do uh, to beat the burnout or to have a sense of disconnect from work is like, enroll yourself in a new hobby, right? I am learning painting because my mom is an artist. So she stopped painting a couple of years ago. Now I encouraged her to teach me. uh, and this is how I'm achieving two things here. So I'm learning painting. I'm putting 15-20 minutes or half an hour every single day. uh, and one thing I uh, am experiencing is that my mom is liking this, because I spend half an hour every single day with her without any intention or without any outcome. I just sit with her and I just talk with her. She guides me and I just paint. Usually, in a busy life, you don't get that quality time with your parents, right? Uh, so those I wouldn't say like focusing too much on tools or technologies. Focus on simple things that makes you happy, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how you'll be happy. You'll make it successful.
So, Shivam, can you share some of the success stories of clients that you have helped them in this entire remote work framework. I will leave an option to name or not name the client. I leave that option to you, but it would be great to hear some success stories.
So yeah, in startup ecosystem, we have helped a couple of clients because, and especially when I joined Uploads, I started doing that because earlier when I was working in my previous company, we were mostly working with enterprise level clients. Though we were consulting, we were doing lot of work with the managers or project managers, but it was like very different because they already have a big team set up, right? Now working with startups is like very different. So sometimes you have to tell the CEO of a company that no, this is not good. Your idea will not work. So it is like you have to be polite, but you have to tell them that you are wrong, right? Instead of doing this, do this, and you will achieve better results. So I'll share a short story here. So a client came in uh, to work with us, and he is developing a SaaS platform to automate the marketing campaigns.
Mhm.
And he and his wife both are in San Francisco, running this startup from past 4 months. They have a plan. They have documented things what they need and all. When they came to us, they were like having two challenges. It's like hiring in the Indian market is so tough because of high notice periods. People are shopping offers and joining nowhere. I mean, like nobody knows which company they joins. And then retention is another problem. So if you hire someone, they will leave after 1 year. And startup is like it is very difficult when someone you train and you bring them on board and teach them, and they are used to your product and they leave after a year, right? So giving that KT again is like so time consuming, and even cost is all involved there. So this was the one challenge. Second challenge was that they have limited capital investment for that, so they were not open to exceed that thing. And that is with every startup they have some money, and because it was bootstrapped, so we have no funding, so we know like all the money that is going in is from his or her pocket. So they were planning to set up a team of 5 people, uh, who would build this product from scratch. uh, and we realized that there is no use of 5 people. I mean, like, for as a salesperson, I would love to give 5 people and make more money, but I felt like there is absolutely no use of 5 people in this team. You don't need them right now. uh, so what we did is, like, we suggested them, like, instead of hiring 5 folks, you just hire 3 folks, right? This will lower your capital investment. Plus, you can hire senior people, so you will get more visibility, more accountability from those folks. Also, because these people are already working in a remote setup, they would not give you hard time in transitioning in this job and learning and documenting all that stuff. So this sort of consulting activity I usually do, and I did with that client. uh, I can understand, when you change someone's perception, or uh, consult them or give them an idea which is like very much different from their original one, because they were brainstorming on that idea from past couple of months. It's very hard to change people's mind. So it took around like 2 weeks to regularly consult and give them proper understanding how we will execute this and all. We both came to a mutual agreement and we started off with that. uh, Now they have onboarded all 3 folks, right? And the guy is so happy uh, with the initial onboarding and the initial work that the candidates are doing with him. So now he's coming back to us and saying, like, you guys were right, I was wrong. And I feel like so happy, not about being me right or him wrong, I feel happy that okay, I mean, like, it's not about the revenue I'm generating, it's about how many people or how many startups are being successful because of this consulting thing I'm doing. Because I could have easily accepted those 5 roles
Mm-hmm.
and make more money out of it. But I genuinely feel that I'm not that kind of a person. Though I'm in sales, I'm not that kind of a person who would go for money all the time. I would rather go for relationship than going for money.
Thank you, Shivam, for sharing that. Of course, relationship, trust, they are the fundamentals. And like listening to you, understanding your way of managing situations and dealing with several situations. I think that is something that is very really enlightening. So thank you for sharing that. Um, what are some of the best practices for building a strong remote team culture and maintaining team bonding? Like what are some of the best practices?
So culture is like very, very personal, I would say, for any company. The best practices can be good for, it's like one size doesn't fit all thing, right? When it comes to culture, because a big company or an enterprise company can have different sort of culture as compared to a startup or a mid-size company. And a company like Facebook or Meta could have altogether a different sort of culture. So I would say, like, listening to people is very much important. So what's your intention behind culture is very important. If your intention is to make people happy, make people successful, right? Then you are in the right direction of curating that culture, right? Not the other way around. If you are feeling like, okay, I'll build a culture where people are more productive, I'll be making more revenue, that's not the definition of culture, right? You won't be able to that would not be a sustainable culture for you, right? So the intention behind culture is very important. I would say, listen to your employees. You can go with the surveys, right? And go with anonymous surveys. Don't go with like surveys that are anonymous but you are still getting that data, right?
Hmm.
So don't
Hmm.
go with that. Go with real anonymous surveys and understand what is the pulse of your organization, what people are saying about the organization, about the work culture, about the family, about the friends, about the work, about burnout, whatever the cases are. So do that sort of survey and understand the pulse. And then, you know, give this information or talk to managers or leaders in the organization, and then try and understand what is that thing that disturbing, or what is that one thing that you would like to implement uh, at the very ground level, right? Because culture starts from very much ground level position. You cannot build a culture at the top and start putting it down. It's not like that. You have to inject it in the very, very junior folks, right? Or who people who are the face of your company or who are working very hard. So that's how we determine the culture, because the culture at the top could be very good always, right? But how the mid-level folks or the entry-level folks are feeling in the company, that's what the culture is. And so the best practices, if I have to say, is like, in remote work, it's like documenting. So first is like, of course, checking the pulse, right, of the organization, of the each employee. uh, and the intent should be very, very clear, and should be very, very positive. Second is like documenting what is going right and what is going wrong. So if you're doing something and that is not giving you results, document it and let's figure it out. Okay, this is not working. Let's try some other ways to do it, right? Or some other options that we have. Other thing that I would say, the best practices in culture, building a culture, is uh, you have to have in-person relationship, in-person meetings, or in-person meets with your employees, with everyone out there. So remote doesn't mean that you are not meeting people, right? It is that you are creating a culture where when you meet, you have a sense of purpose why you guys are meeting. So if you are meeting just to take Zoom calls from your cabin, I mean, like, no point in doing that, right? But if you are meeting to spend time with those people and not talking about work, that is way more important for me to build a culture in the organization. So you will meet more people. You will have in-person meetings with the in the organization. But what is the purpose behind those in-person meetings is important. So if you have workation, if you have fun activities, if you are taking your teams to watch a movie or for happy hours, right? That is still there, and uh, making people understand that why we are doing it. So another thing, uh, I have observed is like when you have a big team in remote, it's very hard to do these sort of stuffs every time, right? So what you guys can do is to create communities. uh, let's say we have a team of 1,000 people spread it across India. uh, we have maybe 90 or 100 people in Delhi NCR, right? Let's create a community of Delhi NCR folks, right? And in this community, we will encourage these people to meet very often, right? We will sponsor these things, and we will, conduct sessions like bowling sessions, or pools, or cricket, or whatever games or movies or whatever you guys can do, and create such communities and small groups, and give some people who are more enthusiastic in this space, give them the leadership or make them the influencer of these groups and communities, and allow them to generate more ideas how we can more communicate, meet, and build that relationship in person. Because it is very tough if you have a very big team to bring everyone in under one roof and talk. So you have to start with small, right? Make small groups, small communities, and go with that. uh, you can always have workations or offsites in a bigger group, but uh, because there is a thing when you as an employee or as a human being, right? We face positive and negatives every single day. You need people to share those positive and negatives, right? When you share positive vibes with people, people get inspired. Sometimes people feel happy, right? Sometimes you know uh, if you are feeling negative, you are sharing that negativity out there. Sometimes it's like people have already conquered that negativity some or the other way, and they can give you suggestions, or maybe they can simply say, "Oh, it's okay, right? Time will get better, right? Things will get better. Don't worry about it." Those things are very much important in remote work. How you would do that in remote work is what I call culture, right? Because on-site is
Wow.
very easy.
Wow.
I can go on a coffee break, and I can bring that all that negativity out in front of 5 people and talk whatever shit I can, right? They will receive it. If they are my good friends or good colleagues, they will suggest me few things. They will absorb it, understand it, me, and maybe share some ideas or think about it, right? But in remote settings, there is no way to do that. You can only call people, have a virtual meeting, and because everybody is at work, you sometimes feel it's difficult to engage people in that meeting, because you are not sure whether he's free or busy, right? Whether I should call him or call him not, or leave a message or do that sort of stuff. So how would you incorporate these things in remote setting would definitely enhance the culture.
Thank you, Shivam. Thank you for sharing that perspective. And one final question I have for you is that how do you keep yourself updated with, remote communities or the books or podcasts that you hear? It would be great if you could share that.
So I follow About Abroad. That is by Chase Warrington. So I follow that podcast. Uh, Plus, I Harvard Business Review is very good. I do that. Business Insider, those things. So daily news and updates are all already there. Uh, Plus, there are few other podcasts like Nick. The he's from remote workplace expert from Stanford, right? I recently get to know him through LinkedIn, few of my mutual connections and all. So now I am more inclined towards his observations and all. So I would say like anyone who want to go with remote work or want to know more about remote work, you can simply go to About Abroad remote work podcast, right? There are plenty of podcasts. It depends like with whom you connect. So for me, it's like I connect with Chase, I connect with Darren, I connect with few people that I like, and I can understand what they are trying to say, and I can relate to their experiences. So it's about there are plenty of podcasts. I can just name a few or create a list for everyone. But I connect with more with Chase and Darren because I think they are thinking about the future, how future will look like if we all go into remote work. Most of the people are still talking about the present or what's in the past about it. I think I'm more inclined towards the future. That's why I like those sort of podcast. But to get up to date, like I think Harvard Business Review or Business Insider are good things. You get daily updates there. We work remotely is also good for I would say like the people who are in initial stages or who want to learn how remote work is. I think these basic uh, uh, learning programs or even remote first institute, they have launched couple of learning programs for remote work, like you can be a remote work consultant or an advocate. So they have a month or 2 months programs and you can go with those. I mean, like very nominal fee. Sometimes it is free under a promotion or anything. So you can go with that. And because searching for news out there or what's working, what's not working, best practices and all, it's very difficult to do it on Google, easy to do it on Chat GPT. But if they Chat GPT doesn't have, you don't have a subscription for Chat GPT, it won't give you up to date information. So it's best that you leverage those institute and systems that are already there, and
Mhm,
absorb all the information as much as you can.
mhm, mhm. Thank you, Shivam, for sharing wonderful perspectives on future of work, remote work, taking us through your journey, your story, your personal experiences truly made this podcast special. And I look forward to having you once again. I know we have a lot to discuss on startups, and maybe next time we can also have some of the learnings that you have derived from listening to this podcast and other resources. That way, it will be great for the listeners to understand, how you are being a continuous learner, because that is one skill that one has to hone if they are looking forward to turn remote. So thank you once again, and I also would like to thank all the viewers for joining us for this amazing podcast and listening to Shivam Karnwal. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sagar. Nice speaking with you.